Welcome to the Psychology in Simple Terms channel. Today we'll dive into one of the most fascinating and important topics in psychology, cognitive biases. You might not even realize how much they influence your daily life and the decisions you make. Subscribe so you don't miss any interesting videos. So, what are cognitive biases? These are systematic errors in our thinking that occur unconsciously and affect our perceptions, judgments, and behavior. Cognitive biases can lead us to make incorrect conclusions, poor decisions, and see the world in a distorted way. One of the most common cognitive biases is black and white thinking. This is the tendency to see situations in only two extremes, all or nothing. For example, if you don't achieve perfection in something, you might consider it a complete failure. This type of thinking prevents us from seeing intermediate options and finding compromises. An example of black and white thinking could be a situation at work. Imagine receiving a critique from your boss. Instead of seeing it as an opportunity to improve, you immediately think you're a bad employee and will be fired. This bias makes you view everything negatively. Confirmation bias is another frequent occurrence. It manifests in our tendency to search for, interpret, and remember information that confirms our preconceptions. This bias causes us to ignore facts that contradict our beliefs and strengthens our prejudiced opinions. An example of confirmation bias could be when you believe that all politicians are corrupt. You'll notice only news about corruption and ignore any positive actions by politicians, thereby reinforcing your bias. Another cognitive bias is the halo effect. This is the tendency to judge a person or situation based on one noticeable trait. For instance, if someone is physically attractive, we tend to attribute other positive qualities to them, such as intelligence, kindness, and honesty, even though this may not be true. An example of the halo effect can be seen at work, when an attractive colleague receives more positive attention and support than a less attractive one, regardless of their actual professional qualities. Survivorship bias is another interesting cognitive bias. This is the tendency to draw conclusions based on surviving cases and ignore those who did not succeed. We only see those who have succeeded and do not take into account those who failed, although there may be many more of them. An example of survivorship bias is success in business. We see successful entrepreneurs and think that anyone can achieve the same success, ignoring the millions who have failed. This bias makes us overestimate our chances of success. Another common cognitive bias is the illusion of control. We often believe we can control events that we actually have no influence over. This bias can lead us to make unreasonable decisions and experience unnecessary stress. An example of the illusion of control is gambling. People believe they can predict or influence the outcome of a game, even though it is pure chance. This bias can lead to losing money and disappointment. Now let's look at several ways to recognize and avoid cognitive biases in everyday life. First, it is important to be aware of your prejudices. Ask yourself questions. Why do I think this way? Do I have enough evidence for this opinion? Could I be biased in this situation? Second, try to seek information that contradicts your beliefs. This will help you see the situation from different perspectives and reduce the impact of confirmation bias. Third, use critical thinking. Analyze facts, consider alternative explanations, and do not rush to conclusions based on limited information. Fourth, practice self-reflection. Regularly evaluate your thoughts and decisions to identify possible cognitive biases and correct them. Fifth, discuss your thoughts and ideas with others. Sometimes an outside perspective can help identify biases that you do not notice. And finally, learn to accept uncertainty. Not everything in life can be controlled, and that's okay. Embrace uncertainty as a part of life, and try not to stress over things you cannot influence. Now you know what cognitive biases are and how to combat them. I hope this video was useful and interesting for you. Write in the comments about the biases you notice in yourself and how you deal with them. Like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss new videos. See you next time.